Political development in Nigeria is getting more interesting. We have seen where politicians are trying to align and realign themselves, pitching themselves to other political parties with a mass defection. The ruling party, on the other hand, does not seem for top. Haven't seen big weeks of these political party members moving to the Social Democratic Party (SDP), with the likes of Nasiru El-Rufai, the likes of John Oyegun, former chairman of the APC, as well as the likes of Ali Ndume, allegedly, said they are moving to the Social Democratic Party (SDP). Now, by that act and singular effort taken, is it going to weaken the All Progressive Congress? And by the mass defection, is the opposition party, particularly the People's Democratic Party, get an age to prepare better for the 2027 general election? These and more is what we're going to be talking on the show today. Hello there. It's a pleasure once again to have you join us on Political Affairs on Kama TV. My name is Chris Jacobs, and I've been joined by a young politician, an activist, a seasoned young politician, I put it that way. Anas Bala, he's an APC stalwart, and he joins me now to further this conversation. Anas, it's a pleasure to have you on Political Affairs.
Thank you indeed, Mr. Chris. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Now, let me just set a premise for this conversation. Talk to me about what you make of the recent political development in Nigeria, as regard to the permutations, we're beginning to see all in preparatory for 2027 general election.
Well, I think, let me say it, in the first instance, there is a lot more tension. I'm also aware this morning or this afternoon that there's a letter that was being delivered to the executive governor of Rivers State also by the members of the State Assembly in Rivers, for a gross misconduct as a premises under the account of which they want to invoke, impeachment section against. Like you've all seen again, we've had a lot of hullabaloo in the political atmosphere, which has engulfed both the PDP and drawing closer now to the APC also. We've seen the recent a kind of tense momentum, especially with the defection of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State. Yeah. That has shocked the party a little more, especially in the bad omen. Whoever told you that this particular movement by Malam Nasir El-Rufai is not in the negative aspect to the APC is lying. It has actually created a bad omen for
but APC doesn't look shaken. Is it the pride of being the ruling party in the country? That's why you feel the APC, your party feels that it's pivotal and they have all the acts in their hand.
Well, I think what the party is doing, Mr. Chris, is that the party is trying to play to a gallery in such a way that they will not increase the momentum of the permutation. Because certainly the party is not so aware if Malam Nasir El-Rufai had actually made a wider consultation among the members of the party before taking that decision. So if actually he does that, then certainly it's going to cost the party a lot. So what the party is doing now is to undertone the process so that it will not get to a serious situation that they cannot.
And how does the party?
And it's part of the damage control by the party trying to shut up, trying to move the matter over their shoulder and say that look, there's nothing. You can still move on even without Malam Nasir El-Rufai. But certainly the party know that something has happened, which a serious measure needs to be taken. Because losing someone like Malam Nasir El-Rufai in the party is such a big loss to the party.
But not just Malam Nasir El-Rufai in the party. Of course, there are some big wigs, the All Progressive Congress, who have also joined the step taken by Malam Nasir El-Rufai. However, though, let me predicate this question on the person of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, crediting it to the statement he made in recent times that he knew of all the shenanigans, that is leveled against President Tinubu, but he chose not to, thinking that Tinubu will do well, of course, do better. And the question that asked again, that still begs for answer, is that if he was made a minister, could he have seen Malam Nasir El-Rufai venting, like this, or having an intention to even defect from the.
Well, let me speak plainly to you as a politician and as someone who had stood against this matter from the day that Madam Nasiru El-Rufai was withdrawn from the ministerial list, whether by ministerial processes at the Senate, or just like we had that there was a surreptitiously arrangement from the presidency, from the villa, to oust Madam Nasiru El-Rufai from the list. I kick against that. Because I know that politicians, you must consider their interest first in everything. We politicians understand this, except we are discussing with other people. Politics is about game of interest. Madam Nasiru El-Rufai has stick his neck out to be chopped by the members of the opposition in this country to see the victory, to the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on which we are all aware in this country that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took all the way to Kaduna State at one occasion to plead with Madam Nasiru El-Rufai not to travel abroad, not to abandon the assignment that he has for him, to stay back in the country, that he has an assignment to him. And Madam Nasiru confirmed to everybody that they have met again after that occasion and discussed one-on-one. And he told him that he wants him to serve in the Ministry of Power. That is, to oversee the affairs of power sector in the country, which Madam Nasiru El-Rufai said he's going to do it. But at the end of the day, what do we see? What has happened to Madam Nasiru El-Rufai is what many of us as politicians wouldn't want to happen to us.
But even as of that, Tinubu did not win Kaduna during the presidential.
But I ask people, how many ministers do we have in this, in the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that deliver their states? I have asked, even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu lost Lagos. We must be able to say things the way they are. We knew the contribution of Madam Nasiru El-Rufai right from the days of congresses in 2022, when we gathered in Abuja. We knew how they struggle hard to ensure that the leadership of the party goes back to CPC, so we can have a candidate from the ACN. All those things are targeted toward achieving, the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we know how that trickled down to the, primaries we had in Abuja, where Madam Nasiru El-Rufai stood within his colleagues, among the governors of the APC, to say that, look, we are giving these tickets to the Southerners. And in the South, I know preferably they choose President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So for what reason do we come, after all this struggle, to say that Madam Nasiru El-Rufai deserved the treatment he got from the party? That is what I stand against. And I said, as a politician, if that matter had been managed critically well, wouldn't have get to this level. If eventually some people felt that the appearance of Madam Nasiru El-Rufai within the presidential cabinet is going to stifle their own political ambition, or is going to cripple their own political ambition, we would have had a better management of the issue. We would have had a swap, of the position, or preferably choose another assignment for Madam Nasiru El-Rufai that you know that it will have less consequences to your own political ambition.
And that he will not be scrutinized by the floor of the House.
To throw the towel, and at the end of the day, look, let us speak the truth. All the things we've seen going on in Kaduna State by the government of Obasani, we knew that these things are orchestrated towards frustrating Madam Nasiru El-Rufai. He isn't only the governor that just quit after, the 2023 general election. There are many governors. But we're waiting to hear any, sort of investigations over their own.
If you look at it critically again, the issue of security has improved in Kaduna and by and large northwestern part of the country, which of course the allegations were leveled against Madam Nasiru El-Rufai for being, instrumental, to the subjugation of the southern Kaduna, and as well as not being become somewhat complacent and inaptitude as regard to salvaging, the proponents of these areas that have been attacked on a daily basis. But we see a different tone in the game. Now, will you rather say that the improvement of the security of these areas is predicated on the effort President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has put into, or Obasani, as the current governor of Kaduna State, is doing?
Let me just make a clarity here. Look, there are two different things that I want to make a distinction here. I've had people speaking about this several times. Well, the situation in Kaduna is what we all desire. It is the promises of this government. And under no any guise, anybody will come out to tell us that, look, this thing is happening because of Mr. A or B or Z. We appreciate, the level of security restoration in Kaduna, and we hope and pray for the government to continue to do more. But I don't believe, that there is anybody who is elected to serve people that will turn to be the monster or the masterminder of killing lives in the state. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in Nigeria who've ever got any governor that is interested in killing the people rather than protecting lives. But what we know is that there's a politics in every angle of what we do. And people have their own different character. For what I know and I can attest about Malam is that Malam is a very straightforward somebody. He talked to you the way he talked to himself. He talked to you in public the way he talked to you in private. These had been one of the character, and these have been one of the phobias and one of the critical features of Malam Nasir El-Rufai. Some people will consider him very antagonistic, because he's someone who just speaks his mind everywhere he goes. But I don't believe in every assertions or insinuations that are people making that Malam Nasir El-Rufai was responsible for some of the things that happened in Southern Kaduna when he was the governor. But I knew that there's an improvement in the security angle right from the day President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Just like we know that there are a lot of things need to be done again, because we've seen the escalating situation in Zamfara, we've seen escalating situation in Katsina. Those places are not doing good, and then we hope that the government of the day will be able to pick up, from where the last administration left and improve on them.
All right, I'd like you to ponder on this, but we'll see, take a short break so that we catch our breath, and then we'll build on this. The mass defection, not mass defection per se, but the defection by some big wigs of the All Progressive Congress, which include Nasir El-Rufai, the likes of John Odigio Oyegun, former APC national chairman, the likes of Aliun Dume, of course, and a crop of others who have also joined to defect, including, Senator Ishakwa Above Adama North, of course, how vocal he has been. So I'd like you also to ponder on this. How do you think that wouldn't affect, the All Progressive Congress in the sub-nationals, talking about, their various states? This is what we're going to be looking at after we come from this short time. I hope it's okay by you.
It's okay.
All right. Well, you're watching Political Affairs on Camera TV. Let's take a short break. We'll be back in just a moment. Join us again. Well, you're welcome back, and you're watching Political Affairs on Kaiman TV. We have been discussing the state of the nation, particularly the All Progressive Congress, the ruling party in Nigeria that has had some of its big wigs, defecting to other political parties. How far so far with the party? Will the party experience a shutdown, a crack, or will they improve upon their internal politics? And I have with me Anas Bala. He is a politician and a stalwart of the All Progressive Congress. All right, before the break, I talked to you about some of the big wigs who have decided, to throw in the towel from the APC, the likes of former National Chairman John Odigio Oyegun, the likes of Senator Aliun Dume, and others, including Senator Ishakwa Abo, who was a senator representing Adama North. Now, wouldn't this have a way of affecting the subnationals in terms of political party activities?
Well, I think let us lay the very critical foundation here. The leadership of the party has a pyramid.
Yeah.
And I think it depends on how we roll it. It could be from top to bottom, or it could be from bottom to top. But what I believe is,
the organogram is from top to bottom.
From the top to the bottom. But in politics, mostly it comes from the bottom. What I believe more critical is that whatever affects the down level of the pyramid, it affects the entire structure. The current wing or wind of defection that is massively coming toward the party is going to affect the performance of the party in the 2027 coming election. There's no doubt about that. But what the party must consider is that whatever it takes for them to make sure that they roll up the critical measures that will put a damage control to this, they should opt to do it. Let me tell you something that many people do not know. I think my own party here in Adamawa State has an issues which we are all aware in the last election, 2023 general election, where we had an internal crisis that couldn't bring all the members on board to settle on one ground. and we confronted the election in that manner. And we saw our performance. We had similar situation in 2019, which affected our performance. In all of this election, I was an active actor in it. I went around with all the governorship candidates in 226 wards, and I campaigned day in and out. We draw up a structure of how we want to win election. But because of internal crisis within the party, we couldn't succeed.
Yeah.
And nobody will tell me about how internal crisis will affect a political party, because I am a direct victim of that for almost twice. We're getting to 8 years now in opposition. I felt for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I have my own advice to him, that the president should forget about all of the people who are coming to the villa, especially those with appointment, telling him that they want to stick an affairs with managing the party. If you had an appointment, the president has assigned an appointment for you or assigned an assignment for you to carry on, focus on that. I think the president should be more abreast by now. The president should be more proactive.
Do you think
try to separate those who have appointment with those who are managing political life? Because I have seen many of those who have appointment that want to hijack the party. Against 2027, to use the platform of their own appointment, of their own office, to contest election at the general interest of the party. This morning I read the news that the National Secretariat is considering giving automatic ticket to governors, giving automatic ticket to members of the National Assembly and that of the President, and allowing the members of the State House of Assembly for their fate to be decided by whoever had the ticket of the governor.
But what is good for the goose should be also good for the gander.
But the issue here is the issue of automatic ticket, especially when we live in a multi-party system like Nigeria, is a flaw. These are what give opposition parties more strength. It is just like opening doors for more opposition party, for more members, for the opposition parties to welcome members.
In this regard, somebody would say every political party has its own internal mechanism and it's at your own discretion. To
if the APC will choose the option of automatic ticket, certainly it's another era of things falling apart for the party. What we are seeing now,
but that's not necessary that other political parties as well should go, after the similitude of these APC.
It is the same thing that we had in 2019 here in Adamawa State that caused us the situation we are, when we had, people placing a placard of no vacancy at the state secretariat, and I slept because my house is close to Lamido Cinema. I slept hearing and overheard the PDP conducting their primaries, which His Excellency Ahmadu Umaru Fintri emerged as the candidate. They conducted the primaries, but ours was what we had from automatic ticket to indirect primaries to direct primaries. We keep recycling on one thing. At the end of the day, we had a primary election that all other actors, those who had vied for the position of governorship, did not agree with the result. And what do we have at the end of the day? We have people who say that look, they will stand against the interests of the party at the state level, and we lost the election. My call to the party is that the party should be more proactive. The party should be able to learn lessons from the previous things that has happened to us. It has affected PDP even at the national level in 2015. Yeah. And look, the win of defection we had seen of recent, of that of Malo Nasiru El-Rufai, it is not something to be joked about. Because I know that there are a lot number of people who are ready to lift to jump from the ship of the APC to join the SDP, so they can fight, they can form a common force against the APC in 2027. And the party is not learning any lesson from that. Because if you are learning a serious lesson from that, you will not go ahead to talk about it.
And the mass defection we've seen in recent times, it's not necessarily a northern affair. Because I've had one or two persons, talk about northerners are the one who are not satisfied with the leadership of Bola Ahmed Tinubu for obvious reasons, decide to defect and try to form a coalition. But with the inclusion of John Odige Oyegun, of course he's not a northerner. So is it a northern thing, or is it a general thing of those members of the APC who are dissatisfied and disgruntled about the party?
Well, let me tell you, politicians are very clever about this. It's about strategy on how to win election. There's nothing like northerner or southerner. We don't know who will flag the parties, who will fly the party's flag. We're just at the stage of receiving people who are decamping from APC to the SDP. When it's time for the party to decide who fly the party's flag, it is that time that we're going to look into critical issues of regionalism. But what I felt is that politicians who had served the APC, those who had did all they could to see the victory of this present administration, are not compensated. In fact, not only compensated, were not treated as they should be. And look, let me tell you to be precise, myself had an issue with the APC. Let me be very clear about this. And if the issues is not being properly managed, I will have no other reasons than to jump the ship and look for another political party so that we continue to play this game with the APC. But if the APC are truly what they are, let them meet us where we are, because we knew what we have done for this party. We knew how we have struggled to see this party succeed. So if the APC surely need us, there is a step, which I think they will take to give us more recognition, to give us the relevancy that we deserved. It has been preserved by us, and we deserve that, and it must be given to us.
All right, let me ask you a question. Is the APC in Adamawa State still kicking? Or, if I'm going to borrow from what the members of the People Democratic Party have said, even before now, that they don't think there is any opposition in the party, in the state rather. And it seems to be visible and obvious that we don't get to see the activities of opposition party in Adamawa State.
Well, to put it very correctly, to say that the APC is kicking or not, I don't think is the answer. The answer is the APC been able to be in control of affairs in the state for how many years now?
As an opposition party?
As an opposition party, no. How many members of National Assembly do we have in the APC? In totality, we have about 8 House of Representative members. 5 is going to the PDP, which PDP are the ruling party here. 3 is for us. We don't have any senator here in the state. How many members of the House of Assembly do we have? The PDP is still leading us. The PDP have the chairmen and the councillors. Look, the truth should be told. The PDP are in control of the state. The APC is struggling to see how we can, fix back our own roof, to see if we can confront the PDP in the 2027 election. Those who are telling, ourselves that the APC is alive in Adamawa State and the APC is good to go to confront the PDP are speaking from our own economical with the truth. Are speaking from other side of the mouth. The truth of the matter is that the situation we find ourselves as APC in Adamawa State is a situation that calls for a critical attention. We are almost like a sinking party. We don't have anything, left to us as we used to. In 2015, we had about 21 members of the State House of Assembly. Gradually we lost everything. We had about 3 senators in 2015. We had, about 5 members of the House of Representatives. We had governor, we had deputy governor. But what do we have now? I don't think we are, because even at that we don't have government, we don't have many things, we couldn't come together to agree on things. So I think if the National Secretariat will do justice for the party, and I feel if we are good to reconcile the party for our successes, for the progress of the party, for the prospect of the party come 2027, the APC must take the bull by the horn by ensuring that all pending issues, all pending crises have been resolved. Because if certainly we're losing election boy in this party from Adamawa State, actually we're losing Senator Binani, who is the recent governorship candidate in the last election. If actually we are losing Senator Abdulaziz Nyako, who was the recent, central zone senatorial candidate of the party. If actually we are losing many critical members of the party, then who are we going to be left with? I don't think we will expect any big wigs like that from other political parties. Who is going to be left, except if they are bringing, the executive governor of Adamawa State, which I think it will not be good for them. The truth of the matter is that we found ourselves in a critical situation that we don't want to tell ourselves the truth. The APC in Adamawa State is not doing well. And we must be able to sit down and see how we can reconcile this house to confront the PDP in 2027. Else, we have no option than to see
but does the APC have the local standing to do that? As in the prerogative, looking at the party at a national level, how is the resonance like from the between?
I'll speak for the first time about this. And I've said it in different fora that the APC have everything, but it lacks everything.
We'll go on a final break, just catch up break, and we'll come back and we'll wrap up this very critical conversation. We'll be back in a moment. All right, you're watching Political Affairs. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. Just join and be with us in a short while. Welcome back, and you're watching Political Affairs on Kama TV. You can follow all the conversation on the show by following us on our handles. I've been speaking with Anas Bala. He's the stalwart of the All Progressive Congress, and of course, he has furthered the conversation the more. Now, before the break, you were a little bit optimistic that perhaps the APC could bounce back. Should some of these key members of the APC, like Senator Binani, Senator Nyako, as well Senator Ishaku Abu, have been left the party?
Well, I think I was even optimistic. I was not so optimistic.
Okay.
Because I've said it very clear that if the APC continue to trail on this path they are going, giving less consideration to issues that have formed to be a cog in the wheel of the progress of the party, then certainly the party will have no option than to still observe the same scenario that we've witnessed in the last two elections, both 2019 and 2023. The APC in Adamawa State, I think, in most of the problems we've had across different states, ours is very unique because it has actually proven to us that, look, with this kind of problem, we are not going to progress. We've lost the election in 2019 and we've lost the election in 2023, all as a result of serious internal friction among the members of the party. What I am so sure about is that the APC had all the opportunity to resolve this issue, unless some few personalities decided that they don't want this issue to end it. And look, I'm afraid, and I think I'm too worried about the democracy, the future of democracy in this country. The issues, happening in River State, how some mercenaries are ravaging River State to cause chaos, to make sure that the state is ungovernable, call for a serious concern on the prospect of our democracy in this country. The issue that is happening here in Adamawa State, a democratic institution that don't want to give a free hearing to the members of the party, democratic institution that you belong to, an institution that ought to have all your own views, take your own views, give it a recognition, make sure that they're taking something from Mr. A and Mr. B to bring it together to form the harmonize. It's no longer what is working. Some few personalities will decide what to do within the party, and that is final. Whether you like it or not, this is what we have.
Including the National Assembly.
Look, we had a situation here that we don't want to talk about it, but it's good we talk about it because what has happened to your own brother may happen to you. What has happened to distinguished Senator Leshabo in this political party is what I think I disagree with that. You cannot fight a senator who is a member of your own political party. Whatever will happen, let it happen. I'm a member of the party, and I have to speak the truth. What they have done to Leshabo as a member of this political party is what I don't think any you should support. Are you saying if it happens to
they might get the repercussion of that singular decision?
There is a clarity of the matter that, look, there are hands of few personalities within the party.
We're out of time. For time constraints, of course, in the next few seconds, I think I'll be letting you out of the studio. But of course, let me just ask you this. The son of the president is touring, some state in the north. And he was in Yola yesterday. Talk to me, I don't know, in what capacity is it coming? Is it coming in his father's capacity? It's coming as a young Nigerian who is a citizen, regardless of the party affiliation of what? What does that mean to the All Progressive?
Well, I think the first thing is that the motive to pay a visit across the northern states or even the entire country, let's say it is a good one. But I have a question that I want to ask them. Was there a well thought idea about this visit that Sheyi is paying across the northern state at this period of Ramadan? I don't think there is, because the idea of coming here to give people food in takeaways, and maybe probably some hangout of spaghetti and all that, I don't think it's a good one. But if they had a committee, they had established a committee that will look into this. Okay, the son of the president decided to tour across the 19 northern states during this Ramadan, probably to pay homage, to greet our elders and consult with the youth, to listen to them. They would have made it a thing that is more concrete and tangible. He has the capacity to bring jobs to the youth. He has the capacity to bring empowerment. You can tour across the institutions of government, board ministries, departments and agencies, to liaise with them. I am going to so state. I need about 5 slots of job. Maybe one in the FIS, one in the NNPC, one in the maritime sector.
But some
and then again,
political maneuvers against 2027 for his
again, what we want to consider him is that we want to see him from the positive side of government. Since we are in government now, we expect to have a benefit. That is what we call the dividend of democracy. If you want to pay a visit to the 19 northern states, prepare and make it more concrete and make it more intentional. When you come and you give people jobs, you give some people empowerment, probably you see those you said you want to see in the hospital, and we see with evidence that you've paid for their bills. Probably you see some, some kind of youth who are just hanging around, and you say that you want to change their life. Even if they are 20 in a state or 30, people will applaud you. But you cannot be coming at such a time that the policies of our government, let me say, have made life to be more difficult. Policies of our government have made the economy to be in a shadow of itself. And then you come and be giving people hangout or even food in the takeaways. Whoever cooked that idea, whoever bring this idea that I see them ruling, have actually floated everything. Look, let them be precise. Nigerians are getting wiser day by day. I've seen the conversations in social media. I've seen how our youth are angry about that. This will actually reflect on our voting pattern this time around. And I am more curious. The last time we had this conversation, I've said the president should summon the economic team and let them advise him very well.
That's if we do
unless if the president doesn't want to be re-elected, then I leave the matter.
All right, Anas Balada, there's no better way to end this conversation than now. I want to thank you sincerely for finding time to come on the Political Affairs.
Thank you so much. It's
Appreciate
it.
Well, that's the size of our show today. Thank you so very much for being with us from start to finish. Join us again next time, same station, for the fresh edition of the program. Until then, stay safe. My name is Chris Jacobs. God bless Nigeria.